Hey y'all, it's your girl Coach Kinsley. On today's episode, we're going to talk about coconut water.
Coconut water? Is that a fad? I hear it was a fad, but is it here to stay?
We'll find out.
All right, let's go.
Let's go.
It's Fitness Fix with Coach Kinsley. I'm producer Mike, former client of Coach Kinsley's, senior editor for the podcast, who pushes through every set until I hear
3, 2, 1, let's go! Remember to always consult your physician before starting any nutrition or fitness regimen.
So, Coach, for the older generation of us, we remember the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks, and he was stranded on the island, and the first thing he tapped was coconut, and he got himself some coconut water. That may or may not have started the trend of coconut water.
I mean, maybe that's the trend that started it in the USA, but coconut water been around.
Maybe we were the ones catching up to the real thing.
Perhaps catching up. My ancestors, in Dominican Republic, we been drinking coconut water.
I imagine my ancestors on the island of Guam also had their share of coconut water.
Right. So I wouldn't consider it a fad.
Okay, so fad, real fad, not fad, all that aside, is it better than just plain old water?
Objectively speaking, no, it's not better. But there are certain instances where it will be better. Like, for example, it's a great source of electrolytes. So if you have been working out really, really hard for a very long time that day, coconut water is a great way to get rehydrated quickly thanks to the electrolytes.
Interesting, because I have switched to drinking, I think it's called Gatorlight, because Gatorade Zero didn't have any carbs in it, and I am at a point in my health journey that I need some carbs, either before or after my workout, especially runs. Gatorade Zero wasn't going to do it for me. I think Gatorade has too many carbs for me, so I was looking for something in between. Turns out that this Gatorlight, which is super expensive, is sort of the answer I'm looking for, but now you've given me another option. Coconut water.
Yeah, it's a good source of electrolytes, and I would compare it to a lot of those sports energy drinks. Not only on the electrolyte profile, having vitamins and minerals, but I would say coconut water is better because it's natural, less processing going on there, but it's going to have a similar electrolyte profile with plenty of potassium, sodium, magnesium, but it's also going to have vitamin C, which not all of the processed and man made Gatorades and Powerades and all those drinks would have.
Interesting. So is coconut water part of your hydration routine? Or do you use it for more than that?
Personally, no, I don't use coconut water part of my hydration routine, and it's because kind of the same issue that you might run into with the sports drinks is that there's calories involved. So, averagely speaking, coconut water is going to be rocking like 45 to 60 calories per cup. And this is going to vary drastically depending on if there's like chunks in it or whatnot. And it's just harder to keep track of liquid calories. And I would prefer to chew my food. I would prefer to chew my calories. It's just a better time.
Maybe Gatorlight may be a better option for me. But I would like to try coconut water. But you said a cup is 45 calories. That's not a lot of hydration. Maybe I could mix it up. Maybe a cup of that and then just finish with water. I don't know.
I would definitely keep water in your routine.
So don't kick water out for coconut water.
Oh, yeah, do not kick it out. You're always going to need some plain water. I know it's boring, but it's our responsibility. And just in case some of our listeners haven't heard, we have an episode called Hydration. I would definitely look it up. But long story short, to get how many ounces of water that you need a day minimum, take your weight in pounds, divide it in half, and then that is going to equal how many ounces daily that you will want of plain water. So you still want to hit that mark.
Truth.
So you still want to hit that mark. And then, like I said, the room for the coconut water or for the sports drinks, generally speaking, would be on those harder working days. Now, if you're just always running low on electrolytes or you're not hitting your vitamin and mineral mark thanks to your diet, then coconut water, even on the days you don't exercise, might have some room in your diet. And that's why I said at the beginning, like, objectively speaking, it's not better than plain water. But subjectively speaking, every body, right, is different. So there are cases where it's going to be great to start your day with a glass of coconut water. But there's going to be cases where I would specifically say to avoid it completely. Like if you have kidney issues or if you deal with swelling. Those are two times where I would say don't add coconut water. In those cases, I would say just to stick to plain water.
So then let's say I'm looking for some cheap carbs, some cheap calories right before I go hit my, let's say it's a heavy push day. Would you recommend coconut water as a source of cheap carbs, a little hydration, a little electrolyte? Not too much because I'm still hydrating, but would that be a substitute? Or like you said, is it better off to chew my calories in that short instance?
In that short instance, you see, coconut water is not going to necessarily have a lot of available sugars to help push you through the workout. Coconut water is going to be more helpful for your recovery. So if you're thinking about a pre-workout, I would go with applesauce if you don't have that much time. Of course, I mean unsweetened.
Okay. Because what I usually do is I'll cut up an apple and dip it in peanut butter, and that's my source of cheap carb. And then I, down my 33 ounce of water, then I go hit my workout.
Unless you have kidney issues or deal with
So
swelling.
apple good, coconut water post. All right, coach, you got to fill me in. What is the deal with the kidneys and the swelling? It sounds like maybe there's some kind of salt thing involved in this. Actually, I don't know.
No, that was a great start. So good job. So for the beginning, I said, this is a good source of some electrolytes. Some of them I named was potassium, sodium, and magnesium. So sodium specifically is going to help with hydration because it's attracting water, right? But if it's attracting too much, this can lead to hypertension or high blood pressure. And so, if you already deal with swelling, that's usually a pretty good symptom or sign of this. You don't want to increase your sodium intake. So, sodium would be the reason that you don't want to have coconut water if you already deal with swelling. Now, for the kidney issues, potassium and magnesium both are processed through the kidney. Now, your magnesium, that's one of the ones where it's like you can't really have too much because it's going to be flushed out. But I just mention it because you're loading your kidney with two. Potassium is good for muscle recovery and generally cardiovascular diseases. This is one that you can have too much of it. If you have too much potassium, it's going to be hyperkalemia. And some symptoms of this would be like shortness of breath, chest pain, sometimes heart palpitations, vomiting, nausea. If you already deal with kidney issues, I would not overload it here and add coconut water to your routine. But let's get even more specific. There has been a death case, death by coconut water, too much potassium. Now it was with someone who had an acute kidney issue already. And that's why I'm saying if you fall into this category, this is not a fear thing. Coconut water is okay, but too much of a good thing is always going to be a bad thing. We've learned this. Even protein, too much protein is going to be stored as fat. Like too much of a good thing is going to be a bad thing. So in this case, that someone had died by it, they had 80 to 88 ounces of coconut water in one day and already had a kidney issue. So this kind of turned into a very, very, very severe case of too much potassium or
Hyperkalemia.
hyperkalemia.
Okay, coach. So that goes back to something you have always preached is that moderation for everything. As I got more intentional in my nutrition, that I was able to then have a little piece of pie or something along those lines. I mean, it's not sort of the same thing, but everything in moderation. And this is just another example of that, coach, that you're never all the way in on one thing or another. You're all in on your intentionalness of what you're going to eat. And you're certainly not going to, eat the whole pie. So just have some. And it sounds like in this case, it's okay just to have a little coconut water just to see how your body reacts to it. I decide that I don't like the flavor, I don't like the taste, I don't even know what it comes in. Does coconut water taste like coconut, or do they make it taste like berry or triple apple, or I don't know. But it's something I certainly would look at in moderation.
Yes, everything in moderation. And I really want to highlight the last part that you said there, where you said that essentially you need to listen to your body. Your body is sending you signals all day, and it is up to you to hear them. You're the only person that can listen to yourself, especially when it's coming to your digestive system and your hydration. Listen to your body. And the best way to listen to your body is to track what you're eating, track what you're drinking, and if you have that knowledge, then when you have a reaction, good or bad, you can know what it came from. And tracking is going to be so helpful, not only in regards to hydration, making sure you're getting those ounces of water that you need daily, but also to portion size with food, any goal, really, even outside the gym, outside nutrition, tracking and having that knowledge is going to go a really long way for you to reach your goal, but also be aware of where on the path to your goal you are.
Okay, I think I've got the lowdown on coconut water. I'm ready to give it a try. What I'd like to hear next from the 2024 Best Personal Trainer Kansas City are the highlights.
The highlights. So, coconut water is a good source for hydration thanks to its electrolytes, its vitamin and minerals, some being potassium, sodium, and magnesium. So, if you have kidney issues or if you have swelling, minimize your coconut water intake. And then across the board, be aware of your coconut water intake because it's 45 to 60 calories per cup on average. But generally speaking, it is a good source of electrolytes and hydration, especially post workout.
No fish today.
I mean, coconut is the sea. It's kind of like it would go really well with fish.
Huh. Coach, you may be turning me on fish.
Oh, snap. Thank you so much for joining us today on Fitness Fix with Coach Kinsley. The fun doesn't need to stop here. Email me at coach@coachkinsley.com. You can check out my webpage, coachkinsley.com, and also find me on Instagram at, you guessed it, Coach Kinsley. Your girl. See you next week. Fitness Fix with Coach Kinsley is a production of Greyhawk Enterprise, LLC.